Eminent domain. Eminent domain is this amazing ability for the government to take your property, okay? There's an election in the city of Atlanta. An elder who says she was displaced by the former mayor who is now trying to be mayor again, had this to say.
My heart is saying I'm gonna allow you to ask your question, step up and ask your question, and that will be the last question.
Hey Mo, I'm sorry, I've got to leave. We had to stop at 7:15.
Okay,
So
all right.
Excuse me, before you leave, Mayor Reed, before you leave.
Okay, let's remember to be respectful of everybody, please.
You was not gonna let me ask my question.
Oh, okay.
So I'm asking him before you leave, okay? Before you leave. My name is Bertha. My husband is Robert Darden. The flood victims, to assure us that we would not have to leave our homes, we would not have to move out of our homes, and we would not be displaced. Those are the words that came out of your mouth to me and my husband. Few years later, we get letters saying, we want to buy your house. I said, buy the house? You just told us we didn't have to move out of our house. Tanya Washington house never flooded. But our house, basement flooded. And you said we'll never have to move. And then we get sued. The code inspectors come out trying to find fault to condemn our house, to force us, saying that if this is not done, this is not done, and that is not done, they're gonna charge us $200 a day until it's done, or else within 30 days, you will be evicted under your administration. After we went to court, they withheld evidence that we could have used to resolve it, but then sent documents after the city ruled in favor of taking our home. Took a name off the deeds to our home. And here we are, seniors. Where we gonna live? Where we gonna stay? But you told us we didn't have to move out of our home. You was working on a short-term and long-term plan. That's what you told us. And then your engineers lied. They lied in court. They lied in court. Your engineers lied in court. Because we hired an engineer, 40-year experienced engineer, went through those documents, found the evidence under your administration. So Kasim Reed, I want to know why you're trying to get back in office again. To lie some more? To lie some more? Because we have heard all the lies we can from you and your administration.
The former Atlanta mayor did respond. Here's his response.
What I'm going to do is apologize to you from my heart. I made the best decision that I could make at the time because we were worried about severe weather events killing people. That was the best information that we had at the time. We made the best judgment based upon the information that we were receiving regarding flooding. And that's what I was trying to do. So I want to apologize to you, and I hope that if I am ever in position as mayor again, that I will be able to treat you and your husband fairly and better than we did. But I apologize to you and your husband tonight. And what you just shared has affected me deeply, and I hope that we will be able to make it better.
You hope? You apologize? Let me give some background to this. Kim Scott, who was an engineer with the city of Atlanta, Kim Scott became a whistleblower. She put it in writing in an email while she was an engineer for the city and said, we do not have justification through data to remove these people from their homes. She said it, she put it in an email, and she put that email out to other city workers who were in charge of this project. You know what they did to her? They demoted her and then they fired her. I had a conversation with her just a few days ago and she stands by her word. There's another resident of Peoplestown. Her name is Professor Tanya Washington. She's a professor of law at Georgia State School of Law. She's being displaced as well. The city took all of their names off the deed. They no longer own their properties. Now, according to Mrs. Darden, the mayor promised when he was in office, this would not happen. Nobody would be displaced. They utilized eminent domain. When they refused to leave, they took their names off the property. The husband of Mrs. Darden, the woman you just heard, has worked for the city of Atlanta for 30 years. 30 years. It gets deeper. The Atlanta NAACP actually, for the first time in its history, counter-endorsed Mayor Reed for office. Came out with a letter from the executive committee and said anybody but him. And then the national chapter or the national organization of the NAACP came out against the local chapter and said they were out of line. Once again, Mrs. Darden, there's no objection about her truthfulness. She is telling the truth. Those residents were promised they would not be displaced, and they were. The city violated disclosure rules, did not present evidence as they were ordered to by the judge, and the judge in the city still ruled in the favor of the city. I wonder why. All right, Big Walls, what are your thoughts here?
You know, it's funny, rarely do we ever see eminent domain affect the likes of an Amazon factory or a JP Morgan Chase building or any of that, right? It's only ever used when they want to displace farmers in Nebraska and Iowa. Local farmers, by the way, for the Keystone Pipeline, or when Kasim Reed and his cronies want to take up people's lands in Atlanta. And another thing that comes to mind, Brother Richey, is I become disillusioned with the concept of representation because Kasim Reed is a black man, but guess what? He's a black elite. And elites tend to side with elites, no matter their race, color, or creed. That guy is gonna curry favor with the business interests and the elite interests in that community over normal, everyday working people damn near every single time. And so it's sad to see this. And then of course, the NAACP, I mean, fancy Negro Central over there. Of course, the national sort of apparatus of the NAACP is backing Kasim Reed because he's one of them. And again, like these are black folks, but guess what? These are elite black folks, and they're gonna side with elite interests at damn near every single turn. And it's kind of disheartening to see.
Yeah, tremendously. And I know I would get some flack from people in the community because I dare tell the truth about this situation. But I care much more about people like Mrs. Darden, her husband that worked blood, sweat, and tears for 30 years for that city. Tanya Washington, who has remained in that community, and others who are looking for justice still in their community. Right now, they still do not own the homes that they paid for.